Namaste and welcome to another episode of Rajiv. My name is Prerna Tirupati, and today we have with us a very young and talented author whose book Tawasmi was released a few days ago by none other than our Honorable Vice President Sri Venkaiah Naidu. Deepthi is not just the co-author of the book Tawasmi, but is also the editor. A bright engineer from the Premier Institute with Pilani, Deepthi moved back to India from Netherlands and went on to author this unique book for students called Tawasmi. Welcome to Swaraj.
Thank you. Thank you, Prerna ji. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
It's great to have you on our show, Deepthi. So, the first question I read this book I had for you was, what was your inspiration behind writing this book, especially for students?
Actually, when I was searching for, everybody in their life, they search for a passion, a purpose of life, what they want to do in life. When it is only for selfish reasons, only, when you link to only your family and yourself, you will not. You will lack something. You want to do something for a bigger society. So when we were searching for those lines, what is the purpose of life? We came across our Acharya Sriman Sri H. Chinnajayar Swamiji. He told us, like, children are like white papers. Whatever we write on them, they reflect the same. So we should make an attempt to write good. So what else can be a better good than Rama or Ramayana? So that's why we started thinking in those lines. Like, we should do something for the children, something for the society, something for the country. That is where our journey started.
Wonderful. Why did you name this book as Tawasmi? What exactly does Tawasmi mean?
Asmi means I am. Tava means you. So I am yours. Tavasmi means I am yours. I belong to you. This word actually Rama said in Ramayana. In which context, let us understand it. When Vibhishna left Ravana and came to Rama to seek refuge, then he will be asking, please, Rama, I want to be on your side. Then all the Vanara leaders, Vanara means the monkey leaders, whoever Mainda, Dvivida, Sugriva, so many leaders, so many monkeys, innumerable monkeys participated in the war. So just before starting of the war, when they are, trying to construct the bridge, at that time Vibhishna approached Rama for refuge. So the obvious feeling that Vanara soldiers have is, this is not the right time, right place. Now he's not the right person, because he's the brother of Ravana and he's coming just before the war. So they all are against Rama accepting Vibhishna, except Hanuman. Hanuman gives a positive affirmation to accept, but rest all are against it. Then Rama says, Sakradeva prapannaya tavasmi iti cha yachate abhayam sarvabhutebhyo dadamyetat vratam mama. He said, whoever comes, be it Ravana also, whoever comes and says, Tava asmi, Nivadanu Rama, I am yours, and says that, then I will give him protection by all means. This is my vratam. Vratam means, like, you take it with more sincerity, right? Like the regular days, you will not, vratam means you will follow it more sincerely. So he said, Vratam Mama, that is my Vratam. So I want to, save whoever comes and says Tavasmi, I will protect him with any cost. I will stand by him. So Tava Asmi, that's why we wanted to name the book as Tavasmi. So even in spiritual path, Tavasmi, the ultimate surrender to God, is saying Tavasmi. When you feel that belongingness with God, you completely surrender yourself and God takes everything care of yourself. So ultimate surrender path also Tavasmi. And in the material world also, if you want to lead a successful life, today in the name of caste, creed, religion, everything, people are getting divided. But we are losing the sense of belongingness with other. When you feel that you are belong to other, we belong to the same mother earth. So we are the sons and daughters of the same earth. Then we feel a belongingness. So I belong to you, you belong to me. So the sense of belongingness will happen and it will lead to a greater peace in the world, right? So in material sense as well as spiritual sense, Tavasmi is the way of life.
Okay.
So that's why we have named the book as Tavasmi.
Okay. That's a very elaborate. Thank you for that. Also, I had a question. Why exactly did you choose Ramayana? Why Sita Ramachandra?
Okay. We do cooking, right? As ladies, we think of cooking. So every day we will be thinking what no delicious foods we have to cook, which is a healthier way. We keep on experimenting. But if somebody gives you a healthy, delicious food, what would you prefer? You want to experiment on your own, or you will just take it?
We would obviously go for the
Obviously take it, right? So Ramayana is a life guide they have given us. So Rama has shown us in every situation what is the best way to tackle a situation. So he lived a life which any common person would come across, all the challenges in life. He just put it together in his life and showed us the way. So it is easily a cooked book. So life they as practiced by him and given to us. So we can refer to it rather than experimenting on our own, right? So
right.
Ramayana is easily available and life guide, the best life guide that we got. So that's why we picked Ramayana.
Okay. So apart from your Acharya instructing you, to go for this book, what else was your inspiration behind writing this book?
Actually, when we even from childhood, when we thought and I thought of Rama, always people think of one episode like Rama left Sita.
Right.
So even I was under the impression that when you think of Rama, okay, he left Mother Sita. So I was not even looking anything, knowing about Rama. So only that negative aspect was running in my mind, and I kept Rama apart. But when I listened to the elders, and as I told you, Chinnajaya Swamiji's discourses and great people like Sribhasha Aplacharya Swamiji's discourses and all that, then I understood that to live a life of human, a perfect human, Rama is the way. So today, man, for his selfish reasons, he's polluting the air, he's polluting the food, he's polluting the ozone layer, everything for his selfish reasons. But Rama is a man who is a complete human being who lived as a human. That's why he's being worshipped as God. We
Right.
don't worship Rama just because he is the avatar of Vishnu. He lived a life of 100% human being. That's why we worship him.
Right.
Yes. So if you want to become a good doctor, we keep the photo of a good doctor and keep reminding ourselves, yeah, I want to become like him. Right?
Right.
So to live like a human, you want a perfect role model in front of you. That's why each and every village of India, we have a small, Ramalayam or the temple of Anjaneya or Rama. He's a small idol of Rama.
Yes.
Give us a source of inspiration, not just worship him and leave it. Understand his life, and when you deviate from your life, just come back, look at him as a mirror and correct yourself. So this struck me. And what are those qualities that make a person a complete human being? So that is where the research went into. So what are all the qualities, etc., as you see in Tavasmi?
Okay. So apart from Purushottama Sri Ramachandra, who are your other favorite characters in the Ramayana? Maybe a character or a few characters. Who are your
Yes,
favorite?
definitely. Sita, Rama, Hanuman, everybody's favorite, right? Apart from these three characters, if you see Bharata is epitome of tolerance. See, if somebody blames you for something you have not done, we immediately react. No, I did not do this. How can you say something like that to me? But Bharata, it was not his fault. But Kausalya blamed him, Lakshmana blamed him, Bharadwaja, Guha, all the people of Ayodhya blamed him for not one day or 2 days. For 14 years, he had taken the blame which he was not even aware of. He was nowhere in the scene. He was not even aware of anything what was happening. But he was blamed for 14 years for not his mistake. But still, he, with patience and tolerance, yeah, he proved himself with his conduct. He did not, say that I'm not like this, and he never blamed Rama also. Rama, because of you only, everyone is, criticizing me or everyone is blaming me. So he led a life of patience and tolerance. So Bharata is an epitome of tolerance. So that is greatness of Bharata. If you take Jatayu, Supaswa, and Sampati, these are the three characters. See, Jatayu, we all know he fought with Ravana and tried to save Sita, but he gave his life. And there is Sampati. Sampati, he says, if I had wings, I would have, saved Sita. But when he actually got the wings, he did not even help so much the Vanara people. And he just, through words, he just gave an advice that, yeah, I can see Sita from this side of the ocean. If you just go the other side, definitely you will find Sita. He did help, but not the help as needed. Like he did not, put one Vanara or the other side of the ocean or helped in the war or nothing. He found his own way. We are not saying Sampati is wrong, but just that the way they helped. Jatayu gave his life. Sampati did some part of help, right? Whereas Supaswa, he just conveys the information. Like Ravana abducted Sita, that is what I know of. So he conveys to his father Sampati that I have seen it. So there are people in society also, they see something wrong going on and they just talk about it, like Supaswa. And there are people like Sampati who want to do more, but they constrain themselves only to certain things. But there are people like Jatayu who fight for things and who sacrifice for the country, for the people, for the greater good. So there are different characters which show us how to live our life. So whether you want to be like Jatayu or Sampati, Supaswa, just compare different characters and understand. So this is. And one more thing is when you think, there are some characters which teach you what to do. And there are some characters which teach you what not to do. Not to do, right? Bharata or Jatayu, when you take, they show what to do, how to be like, have tolerance, have the courage to fight the unrighteousness. But when you think of Vali, Vali is he's powerful. He's powerful than Ravana. But the only problem that he had is arrogance. So that arrogance made him fall. And his own brother wanted him to get killed.
Right.
So even though when you learn something, when you become powerful, you should not have arrogance. So that is the episode from Vali character. We can understand that how arrogance makes you fall.
Right.
This is not we are telling. The Vali himself accepts it that it is because of my arrogance only I am in this stage. Even Tara also tells the same thing. Don't be arrogant. Accept Sugriva, understand him, but he does not listen to him. Listen to her. So every character there is like what to do and what not to do. So what to do examples like Lakshmana, you can take Sugriva, Vigapichana, there are so many characters. Similarly, what not to do, Vali, Ravana, Kumbhakarna, so many people. If you take the case of Kumbhakarna, he explains Ravana that you are not doing wrong. But he takes the side of Ravana.
Yeah.
Right? You know that it is wrong, but taking that side is how correct is it? That is why Kumbhakarna had lost his life.
So when I first read your book, Deepti, I found that the approach that you have used to write this book, it was a very unique pedagogy style that you had actually used. And Ramayana, with all these complex characters, you chose this to be an ideal book for students of today. So can you please tell me and our audience a little bit more about that pedagogical approach that unique pedagogical approach that you guys have used to write this book?
Yeah. So we have so many books on Ramayana on the story part. And we have so many books like do's and don'ts of Ramayana, or, life lessons or personality development, do's and don'ts. But Ramayana is not like do's and don'ts, like clear black and white or just the story. Rama did not want that. He wanted us to see the life through Ramayana. So that's why we took the story part and self introspection. So whenever we read some story, when you contemplate on it, so what happened? What are the learnings? When you compare the characters, when you analyze yourself, like are those qualities are there in me or not? Where can I improve upon? So everywhere that when introspection happens, that is where when you take it into practice. When you practice, again you will have some hindrance, like you will fall somewhere. Again you have to go back to the story and understand and improve the quality. So it has to go on a progress method rather than just do and do or on don't or just comparison, just leave it. So we want people to imbibe the qualities. So take it into practice, introspect, analyze, research. So that's why we have taken different introspection sheets. If you have seen, like compare Rama, Ravana, compare Jatayu, Supaswa, and Sampati, compare Lakshmana and Sugriva, compare the three brothers of Ayodhya, Lanka, and Kishkinda. What do you see the differences? Why the brothers of Ayodhya are eternal? Even when, see, it's been 2 crores of years since Ramayana happened. So even after 2 crore years, we talk about brothers of Ayodhya. But we don't talk about brothers of Lanka or Kishkinda. We don't want to be like them. So what made them the perfect brothers? So comparison and self-introspection, like you compare yourself with Sita in this situation. How would you react? How would you respond in this situation? Media reporting, like any instance when you see how you can see the positive aspect of it. What are the challenges in media reporting? And there is a sheet like a character dictate. So what a personal appearance and inner personality. So when you look at person, generally we make a frame of mind just by seeing the physical beauty, but that should not be the case. So there is an inner side of it. So what are the qualities that the person have? That should take a higher priority than the physical appearance. So this should also be the frame of mind. That's why we put character dig bit. Even in the dig bit also, dig in the sense develop, investigate, gather. So when you gather the information, collect all the information, investigate how authentic it is, whether it is right or wrong, and then put it together. So don't just write it, understand, collect the information, investigate, and develop a sense of what the character is. So physical appearance gives you an imagination. Inner appearance develops your character.
Right.
So that is how we have taken the debate, media reporting, introspection sheets, etc.
Wow. So, Tavasmi, so because I had actually read the book, it's a conversation between a father and a daughter that's spanning over 68 days. So, what exactly is this significance of this number 68? Why 68 days?
Yeah, generally psychologists say that 21 days, if you make a habit, it becomes, if you practice something, it becomes a habit, right? But in our spiritual scriptures and all that, they say Mandala Diksha means at least 48 days. So 48 days, it is easy to make it as a habit. So we wanted to take something more than 48. But which number? Anything we wanted related to Ramayana. So if you see our books, 4 volumes. Why 4 volumes? We can do it 3 volumes or 2 volumes also, right? Why 4 volumes is because they say Vedam has come down as Ramayana, Vedya, Vishnu has come down as Rama. Okay, so Vedam has come down as Ramayana, right? Vedam is divided into 4 parts: Rug, Yajus, Sama, Atharva. Right? Similarly, we have divided Tavasmi also 4 volumes: 1, 2, 3, 4. And we have divided into two parts. Like first the story which goes around 30 days, authentic Ramayana. Then the 30 remaining days we will be focusing on virtues in 5W1H format. So practice and knowledge. So two parts. So 4 volumes, 2 parts, and 68 days is because best part of Ramayana is Sundarakanda. If Ramayana, every part is beautiful, but the best part of Ramayana is Sundarakanda. And Sundarakanda is 68 sargas.
Okay.
So that's why we have taken the number 68, which is related to Ramayana, and kept it as 68 days. And when we kept it after that, when we were researching also, it's in a year we have around 365 days. So
Right.
68 days, if not every day they can read, at least per weekend if they can read to the kids, the mothers and fathers to the kids. So at least 6 into 68 days is roughly 365.
Okay.
So at least a weekend, if they take one day, they can finish off the entire Ramayana in 365 days. So even for family perspective, as well as in schools also, we have around 220 working days, right? Out of 365, we have 220 days. So per week, a class, also we can finish it off in 68 days. So that's why we have taken a number of 68.
68.
Yeah.
So I've always had this question. What is the significance of Balakanda and Sundarakanda? Other kandas name are quite obvious, but what exactly is the significance of this Balakanda and the Sundarakanda?
Actually, there are 7 kandas in Ramayana. Balakanda, next is Ayodhya Kanda, next Aranya Kanda, Kishkinda Kanda, Sundara Kanda, Yuddha Kanda, and Uttara Kanda. Balakanda and Sundarakanda, let's keep it aside first. Next, understand Ayodhya Kanda, the happenings of in Ayodhya. That's makes Ayodhya Kanda. Then Aranya Kanda, it happened in the forest, right? So Aranya, the place of happening. So Aranya Kanda. Next, Kishkinda Kanda, the place of happenings in Kishkinda, right? Next Sundarakanda will keep it aside, and Yuddha Kanda, because it's a war between Rama, Ravana, and the war between righteousness and unrighteousness. So it is Yuddha Kanda. Uttarakanda means what happened after. Uttara means post, like after. So after Sri Rama Pattabhishekam, what happened is Uttarakanda. So everything is related, we can understand easily. But Balakanda and Sundarakanda, Bala means child. So, but we never see, Rama's childhood in Balakanda. So 18th chapter, Sarga is Rama is born, and immediately 15 slokas, he is, comes to an age of 12 to 13 years, and Viswamitra takes him. So, but from the 18th chapter till almost the end, we see Viswamitra's story, and Viswamitra being with Rama, and how he makes a boy into a man. How beautifully makes Rama into a wonderful man. So it is about Viswamitra. And Viswamitra is a teacher. But why did we refer to him as a child? Because a teacher should be like child. Child in the sense in his thoughts. Like, see, a child, when you ask him to go and hit a wall, he will not think. He will just go and hit it. If somebody asks us, we'll say, "Are you mad?" Right?
Right.
Yeah, but child will not think. He will not think something is possible or something is impossible. He will just go and try it. A teacher is like that. He will not think it is impossible. He will give his best to do it. And he takes pleasure and pains in the same way, the equipoised and balanced life, right? A child, if you go and scold him also, he will smile. If you praise him also, he will smile, right? He will take both in an equipoised mindset.
Right.
And a child also gives a complete protection, leaves on his parents, right? Completely, he will be depending on the mother. Similarly, a acharya, a guru, is completely, his protection is completely dependent on God, the Swami. He won't take care of himself. His complete protection is complete surrender to the God. So this is the qualities of a teacher and aspirant. So that's why Balakanda. And Sundarakanda, Sundara means again a teacher. Here. Yeah. And here Hanuman is the teacher.
Okay.
So what are the qualities that a teacher should possess? Again, we'll in Sundarakanda, that's deeply
Yeah,
explained.
you could just
There-
elaborate a little bit for us on the Sundarakanda of
Yeah.
Hanumanji as the teacher.
Yeah, yes. See, Drushti, Dhruti, Mati, Dakshyam. These are the 4 qualities an aspirant should have.
Okay.
Okay, so Sundarakanda, Hanuman teaches us on these 4 qualities.
If you could please tell us about each, I'm sure our audience would really appreciate it. Just a little
Sure.
bit, maybe a sentence.
Yeah, definitely. So when you want to aspire for something, you should have a clear vision to it. First, clear vision, and then the courage to go for it. So Hanuman had the clear vision of finding the Sita. And every Vanara was, in despondency, like I can, fly up to 10 yojanas, 20 yojanas, or 100 yojanas, maximum 100 yojanas, or I cannot come back. But Hanuman took up the challenge. So he was having the courage to do it. So vision and courage.
Right.
That is the first quality. Next one is there will be when you are doing something good, you will get some intermittent benefits. See, when he was crossing the ocean, in between Mainaka came, the golden mountain came and asked him to take rest on him.
Right.
But Hanuman says, no, I cannot rest even for a while till I find Sita. I'm on the purpose of Rama. I can't wait. So, but I'm not, take it that I have accepted your honor. I'm not disagreeing or I'm not disrespecting you. I'm taking your honor, but I can't stop because I'm on a mission. So when you have a clear purpose and vision, don't stop until you reach the goal. You get some intermittent benefits, but don't stop there. Then when you are then the next thing is you will have to do what are the necessary tasks which takes you towards the goal. So in the case of Surasa is appointed by Devatas to test the presence of mind of Hanuman. So Surasa says, you have to enter the mouth and enter my mouth and go. Hanuman says, I'm on a mission. Now I can't go. I can't be a food to you. I have to go. Once I complete my mission, I'll come and enter as a food. But Surasa says, no, you have to. Then he will make himself as so much big first. Then Surata also keeps increasing her mouth. Then he will become small and just enters her mouth and comes back.
Right.
So he uses his presence of mind and, gets away from it.
Okay.
So presence of mind and doing the tasks that are necessary to reach the goal are important.
Right.
And the next thing is Simhika. Simhika, she's a demoness who grabs by shadow. So the demoness tries to attack Hanuman again, but Hanuman also says, no, I have to go. And then she says, no, I have to eat you. Then he will kill Simhika. See, in Surasa's case, he did not kill her. Whereas Simhika case, he killed her. So when you have a goal in your mind, there are some tasks which you have to avoid. Unwarranted tasks, unwarranted responsibilities. You have to, leave them at any cost. And there are some things which take you towards the goal. You have to do it.
Right.
So an aspirant, you have to have a clear vision. Then you will get some intermittent benefits, but don't get satisfied there. Don't stop until you reach the goal and do whatever is required for the goal and avoid completely whatever is not required for it.
Right.
So these are the 4 steps to success. This is what Sundarakanda shows us. And there are many reasons also, like Sundarakanda, it explains the beautiful description of Lanka, and it also captures the quintessence of the characters of Rama, Sita, and Hanuman. So that is why also it is named as Sundarakanda. So apart from all these reasons, the main reason is Sundara means a teacher. Teacher is an aspirant who should have all these 4 qualities.
Okay, so Deepti, when I actually read this book, I thought I wish we had this book when I was growing up. So, who exactly is your target audience for this book? Like, who is
Yes,
it?
any student Student means they say Vidyarthi, right?
Hmm.
Who he's, seeking knowledge. So for a student, so it's not a child or, 6 years, 10 years, 12 years, 14 years, or 60 years. Anyone as a student who wants to understand life and lead their life more successfully, peacefully, completely, then Rama is the way and Ramayana is the way. So that's why we wanted to get Tavasmi for every sincere student who wants to understand life lessons.
That's a very broad spectrum for your target audience. So my next question to you is, how do you plan to actually take Tavasmi to the larger audience, like to all the Prapannas and to all the Mumukshus? How do you plan to actually take this to them?
Yeah, we are approaching apartment complexes and schools. So we want to take this as a textbook in schools. So at least no one volume per grade, or 2 volumes per grade based on the school's requirement. So we want to take this as part of school and be part of a regular curriculum. So we are approaching apartment complexes, schools everywhere. So with the blessings of Acharya and people like all of you, so it's going in a very good positive direction. People are appreciating the book, owning the book, and they're giving very great comments about it. So we're very happy about it.
Oh, that's really nice. So do you actually think that Tavasmi could eventually be part of our curriculum in regular schools? Do you see that happening? We're all hoping it is, but how far have you guys come with that?
We really wish that happens, but we are trying our best. Rest, the future will unfold.
Okay. Good luck to all of you. This is a really wonderful book. And also, I wanted to ask you another very pressing question. So, as a girl or as a female who absolutely loves, Sri Rama, what would you say is the reason behind Sri Ramachandra abandoning Sita Maya? This is a question that is always, put to everybody the minute, as we had discussed earlier.
Talk about Rama,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. See, let us understand. It is not the opinion of a single person. One person said it out. Okay.
The washerman.
Then the washerman, he said it out. Then that news came to Rama through a spy. Then immediately Rama asked the other spies also, did you hear the similar kind of blame on Sita from people? Then all the other spies also said, yes, people are blaming Sita. So we have heard of similar opinions everywhere. Then see, it is not the one person. When so many people are talking about this, Rama had 3 options, right? As a king. One is giving his kingdom to his brothers, and he and Sita should go to the forest. Right, giving the kingdom. As see, today in today's case, leaders are then when we are seeing leaders who give freebies and who give money for votes, but Rama is not a leader. Rama is not that kind of a leader. Rama is a true leader who lived for the people, who lived for his people, everyone, right? So ideal leader. So there is no black mark on him, and there is a mark now here. It has come, and as a king, in no black mark should be there. So either he should resign his post, like he should not be the king. He should resign and give the kingdom to his brothers, right? One, that option. Second one is he need not consider this at all, right? He can just brush it. Oh, somebody said, why should I bother about it? For the first, or abandon Sita. Only 3 options. One is giving the kingdom to his brothers, because he, as a king, he cannot have any black mark. Second one is abandon Sita. Third one is ignore. Many people say that, you can just ignore. Na, what is what is there? Yes. But if first option he tried, Rama asked immediately his brothers, can you please take the kingdom? Then they were not ready to take the kingdom. So he does not have the first option.
Right.
right? In the second, in the remaining two options, one is abandoning Sita, and the other is ignoring it. See, if he would have ignored it, what would have happened? The same things, people keep talking about the same thing again and again and again, right? Even now, after generations, also, what would have been the case?
Yeah.
Even now, also, maybe people would blame Sita,
Hmm.
right? Because Rama did not answer that blame, right? See, when Rama was leaving to the forest, there was no blame on Rama at all, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Everybody ran behind him, correct? Now we are blaming Rama, correct?
Yes.
Why? Because of
See.
Sita.
Yeah.
Sita, right?
Yeah.
But actually, the blame is on Sita, but that has been shifted onto Rama now, correct?
Okay. Okay.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Actually, none is at blame. Even Sita is not should not be blamed, and even Rama should not be blamed. But the blame on Sita, he shifted onto him. Now everybody is pointing Rama, but nobody is pointing at Sita.
Questioning Sita. Yeah.
Yes, if you would
Sita
not
now
have
is
done
a
that,
victim. She's
yes,
projected as a victim now, and he is the perpetrator who's actually sent her away.
yes. If he had not done that, then what would have happened? Even now, people would say,
Oh, it was Sita. It was her
yes,
fault. And yet,
yeah, the blame would continue. As a
somehow.
responsible husband, can you such a blame on your wife?
No.
No, right?
At least not Purushottama Sri Rama. Purushottama Sri Rama. Yeah.
As when you think of a person of a common man, or as a husband, or as a king, in any case, this is the best option that he had,
Right.
right? None is at blame. Frankly speaking, none should be blamed, right? But the blame has, come on Sita. So what he should do? He
So
has
he shifted
shifted
it
the
on
blame on him so that nobody points at Sita in after generations. See, it is not only at that time. Even now, nobody points at Sita. Everybody
Yes.
points at Rama.
Rama and says, yes, you abandoned your wife.
Yes. So this is the best a husband can do, right? Did he marry after abandoning Sita? No, right? Even the Aswamedha Yagas, the all is he made the deity of gold made of Sita, and then he lived all through his life.
Yeah.
So
Ekapati.
what? Yeah, what else can a husband can do more than this?
Well, I think this is probably the most satisfactory answer I've been able to receive regarding this experience. But my uh, next question for you is, Dipti, you are, an engineer. You've done your MSc in physics. You were in Netherlands and everything. What made you actually, come back to India and choose this path? Of personality development, authoring a book, and everything.
Uh, I did my graduation from BITS Pilani. Even BITS is not an easy thing for me because I studied in a government school. So even not a wealthy family, middle class family. So even +1, +2 also it was difficult for me. So it was a hard earned seat of BITS Pilani. So 4 years of graduation, then got into a job. I worked as DFT engineer in Texas Instruments. Then I got married. So for my kids and my husband, for their progress, I have left my career. Then I moved to Hungary and Netherlands, etc. Yeah, it was tough to leave my job, but for my kids and my husband, for as a married woman, they are everything to you, right? So for their sake, I was ready to forgive. I mean, forgo.
Wow, that's quite a sacrifice. But did you feel lost when you quit your job and moved abroad? Did you feel lost at any phase?
Yes, I was really lost because I considered myself dynamic when I was working at that time. So losing all this, just being a housewife, at that time I was really lost. At that time only, I came across Sriram Chakradhar Garu. The author author of Tavasmi. So he gave me guidance and few more Pregna, we conduct a program. So in that also we started working together. Then he guided me in Rama qualities, Ramayana, and he got me introduced to Rama actually. So whatever the questions that I had, I could get answers from him. So for why Rama did this, why Rama did like that, what is the essence? So then I got curiosity into Rama and Ramayana. So he was the one who started research on Ramayana, and then I joined him. So after that, his wife Anu is being a big supporter of me. So she's a very good lady, and she supported all as a good friend. So I could, again come back to Tavasme as new life.
Okay. So apart from being the co-author and being the editor of Tavasmi, uh, do you think that this was like a second coming for you, like a second phase, a new phase, a brand new phase in your life?
Yes, definitely. I don't say it is a new career, but it is definitely a new life. So working with Tavasmi team, all the people, so Venkateshwarlu, Venkatesh, Vijay, Sushma, Sushmita, Akhil, everyone. So all the Tavasmi team, they helped me in reinventing myself. So I'm greatly indebted to my team. So I'm looking forward to doing more such positive initiatives for the country, for the students, for children, for everyone.
Good luck to you and your entire team. This book is actually wonderful. I've read it and I highly recommend it, especially not just for students but also grandparents. For the kids who are abroad, NRI kids growing up abroad. This is because I grew up abroad as well as an NRI. I wish we had a book like this while growing up. It's a wonderful book. And what exactly is your aim through this book? Like, I would recommend it to people of all ages, but what is your aim through this book?
Yes, as I told you, when we wanted to understand the aim where we started, so we wanted to write good on the kids. So that is where we started. So you want to reach at least 1 lakh people in the next 18 months. So why it is because when Vivekananda said, there's a famous quote of Vivekananda, right? Give me 100 youth, I will change who have the nerves of iron and steel. I will change the fate. I will change the state of the nation. I will change the state of the nation. So we wanted to produce such individuals who will change the fate of the nation and make the nation a better place to live. Not as only not only the nation, the world a better place to live in. So we want to produce such leaders who live for the cause of country, for the cause of God, and for the cause of Desa, Daiva, and
That's fine. No, but apart from teaching them, good morals and everything, do you believe that Tawasmi would also be putting in the sense of nationality within them? So normally we believe that you need to have your swadharma first, and then dharma towards your family, and then dharma towards your society, and then dharma towards your nation, and then towards the world, to the prakriti and everything, right? So do you believe that Tawasmi would be instilling these in the children from a young age? How old do you think the children should be for us to actually start teaching them from this book or letting them read this book? How young can we start?
There is no age as such. I mean, as long as they can understand, that is the age we suggest people to start reading Ramayana to them. For kids of younger age, definitely we want the parents to take this initiative and start reading to them as a story. But as they grow old, you can give them introspection sheets, compared to that.
Which is there in the book.
Yeah, so as the age grows, it is, they can imbibe more qualities, more introspection sheets, everything. So even from a younger, when you start from a younger age, the seeds are, stronger and the roots are stronger. So, but as you grow old, you are already filled glasses, right? So it is definitely you have to unfill them and fill again, which is difficult. That's why we target the children and students of a younger age. So it's right, as long as they can understand, we want parents to read out to them, and even in educational institutions, we want it to be supported.
So for the audience, I just wanted to tell you that Tavasmi is unique and the approach of the pedagogy is unique because after every chapter, they have included, the authors and the team have included exercises where the child will actually sit, do its own research, contemplate, and then start thinking. So that was what I found very unique about this book. The exercises and the small, takeaways after every chapter were very unique in this book. That I really appreciate you guys, for coming up with this kind of, book with this unique sort of pedagogy. And also another question I had for you, Deepti, is once the child starts reading Tavasmi, how close do they come to actually understanding the real Ramayana? Because before we gift a Ramayana book to young children, we have to actually keep in mind that most of the commercially available books, not the Valmiki Ramayana, but the kids' books, which are in form of comics or in form of stories, usually have this thing where Sita Maya is, shown as the person who is sent away by Sri Ramachandra. So some of the, things where they say that he has killed Vali through chal or without actually going face to face. He killed Vali from the back. So there are a few chapters like this in the commercially available Ramayana. So after reading Tavasmi, do you think children are closer to understanding Valmiki Ramayana, or do you think that they'll be influenced by these commercial books?
As one point you said, like Rama killed Vali behind a tree, from behind a tree.
From behind it.
But from behind a tree. That is the truth. That there is a reason for it. Because he's an animal has to be, hunted through a prey. So prey is the Sugriva, and Vali is behaved as a wild animal, because even though Ruma is the Sugriva's wife, Ruma is daughter-like. With that daughter-like, he has behaved
misconduct.
He misconducted with her, right? So as per Shastras, the verdict is Sirachedana, killing of Vali. So death sentence. So that death sentence, he's an animal. So a prey has to be given, and prey is Sugriva, and he killed Vali behind a tree. That is the truth. But understand why he has done, and that is the righteous thing. But everything, when we want to understand, we have to read actual authentic Valmiki Ramayana and understand why it is done. So Vali killing, it is behind a tree, but there is a reason for it. Rama abandoning Sita, it is true, but there is a reason for it. Just don't blindly he has done this, so it is wrong. He has done this, it is wrong. That is not correct. You have to understand authentically why it has been done it. So when you refer to actual Valmiki Ramayana, it is clearly given why it has been done. So in Tavasmi, we have made sure that we have never deviated even 1% also, or not 1% also, from the authentic Ramayana. So everything it is given as per the Valmiki Ramayana from the available sources. So what we have referred the best available authentic sources, from that we have given all Valmiki Ramayana. So when you want to teach your kids, we want people, a sincere request to people is refer to authentic books. Don't just go for a commercial book, whose very motive is just to make money. So go for authentic books and teach them when it is done, when there is a situation, assess it discriminatively. Understand why it has been done, what is the reason behind it. In that, kids also will understand a positive sense, and they will also think analytically, like why it has happened, right? Than just by being just blindly white and black.
Right.
Right? So we would suggest people to go for authentic grammar. Even now it is available in but we made Tawasmi in an easily assimilated way. So we have taken the most authentic resources like Sri Bhasha Swamiji or Swamiji discourses and all that, and taken the Valmiki authentic Ramayana and made it in an easy format where kids can easily assimilate, or anybody who is interested, not only kids, anyone, any student who wants to easily assimilate Ramayana can refer to Tawasmi. So that is what we have made sure.
Right. So I have heard really good things about Tawasmi. I've heard grandparents say this is really good for their children, and a lot of very well-known, renowned people have appreciated. Could you please tell us the list of people you have? And that's an extensive list of people, very well-placed, very renowned people have appreciated your book. Would you like to tell our audience who are the people who have actually read this and appreciated it? Just if you could give us a few names. I know quite a few myself. I know that.
Yeah, many people
Including
actually.
our Honorable Vice President.
Yes, Honorable Vice President, sir. He loved our book. And then Shriman K.V. Chaudhary Garu, former Central Vigilance Commissioner. So he and Kodidala Lakshmi Narayana Garu, he's also former APS, Andhra Pradesh Skill Development Director. And Chandrahas Garu, he is the author of NTR books. And Surya Narayana Garu, he's the founder of Saptaparni organization, and he closely worked with Mother Teresa, and he's currently working with Dalai Lama ji. So and Gopala Krishna Garu, he's the president of many corporate companies. So I'm not sure of, I mean, I don't remember the company's names, but Gopal Krishna Garu is a very famous person. And the psychologist Asha ji.
You guys have a child psychologist on board as well for Tawasmi.
Yes, child psychologist, and many from the IIMs and IITs, all those people, they're working in different fields like doctor. We have taken the book to doctors, psychologists, educationalists, lecturers. There is one lecture professor, DRDO, the person who is working in Chandrayaan mission, who worked for Chandrayaan mission. We went to him and showed us our book. Even he liked our book. So many people it went to. Everybody is appreciating the book, and everybody suggests that they should read and feel the book.
And I also heard that a lot of our acharyas have appreciated your book as well. Apart from Chinajir Swami Varu, I think there are quite a few other acharyas who have appreciated this book. If you could just let our audience know about it.
Yes, Prenaji. Chinajir Swami Varu and Sriranga Ramanujiyar Swami Kakinada Ashramam, and Antarvedi Krishnamacharyalu Garu from Bhadrachalam, and we have Chalamacharla Venkata Seshacharya Garu. He is a very great person. He has authored many books on Ramayana, Bhagavad Gita. So, Chalamacharla Venkata Seshacharya Garu, and Samavedam Shanmukha Sharma Garu, Bangare Sharma Garu, and yeah, I could think of few, but we've list seriously. We have a big list. I could think of a few.
No, that's absolutely fine. Thank you, Deepti for elaborating all this for me. And before I let you go, could you please recite one of your favorite shlokas from the Ramayana and just briefly give us the meaning?
Sure. Anirveda Sriyo Moolam, Anirveda Param Sukham, Anirvedo hi Satatam Sarvateshu Pravartakaha. Means enthusiasm is the root of all progress. So when Hanuman gets dejected, When Hanuman gets dejected when he could not find Sita, he was thinks of committing suicide. If I cannot find Sita, if I go and back and tell the same to Vanaras will give their life. Then Rama will give their life. So everybody will give up their life. So I don't want to go back. So let me give my life here. But at that moment, he will console himself saying this sloka. Anirveda Sriyo Moolam, Anirveda Param Sukham, Anirvedo hi Satatam Sarvarteshu Pravartakaha. If you have enthusiasm in life, you can achieve greater heights in life. So only key is enthusiasm. Don't get dejected. Just keep giving your best, having that enthusiasm. So when I was rejected in my life, I kept telling this slokam to myself, like enthusiasm. I have to have the enthusiasm. So in everyone's life, there'll be some negatives, things happening. So if you keep the courage and have that enthusiasm, definitely you can achieve greater heights. So this is one sloka is my favorite. And another sloka is Kadhanchit upakarena yekena tushyati nasmaratyapakaranam setamapi atmavattaya. This is the sloka about Rama. All the citizens of Ayodhya, when Dasharatha asked, I want to make Rama as the king, next heir of Ayodhya. Then all the people of Ayodhya, they will keep shouting, Ichchamo hi mahabahum, we want Rama, we want Rama. Then Dasharatha asks, I've been ruling righteously only, no? Why do you want Rama to be the king? Then one of the citizens of Ayodhya, gets up and says like, Kadhanchit upakarena yekena tushyati. If you do some help to Rama unintentionally, we don't do it for Rama. If Rama is going, we do it for ourselves, but it would unintentionally help Rama, then he will feel very happy that he has done it for me.
Okay.
So unintentional help also, Rama takes it as a help done to him, and he will feel very happy. And nasmaratyapakaranam satamapi atmavattaya means if we do wantedly also, we want to trouble Rama 100 times, he will not even remember. He will forget everything. So what to remember, what to forget? Remembering even the smallest help is human. Remembering, 100 mistakes done by others, forgiveness is a human. This is the best quality Rama has, Dasharatha. What else you need? Like that, they will, enumerate ocean of virtues about Rama. This is one sloka about it. One sloka. This is one of my favorite.
That's a very beautiful explanation. Thank you so much. And on this positive note, I will end our interview. Thank you so much for your time and for explaining us the Sri Ramachandra's entire life story with your book, Tavasmi. So good luck to you
so much,
and your entire team. On behalf of Swarajya, thank you so much. Namaste. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, Prernaji. Thank you, Swaraj, for giving us this opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Namaste.